I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.
All right. Good morning. I'm gonna make this point here. I guess everybody is waking up to the news that Netflix. Well, actually, it's been going on for 2 days now. Uh, Netflix has apparently dropped the bid for Warner Brothers Discovery. Now, I'm gonna talk about the good and the bad of this. Why is good and bad? Um, it's not gonna be a very long live stream, but whether if Netflix would have got Warner Brothers, it would have been bad for the movie industry as itself. The movie industry, the entertainment industry, it would have been bad. But it's also bad that Paramount, uh, Skydance attained or going to attain Warner Brothers. And I'm gonna talk about that later on. But let's talk about the good first. The good part first, right? The good part of it is it will solve a lot of those of us who are nerds, right? Those of the nerd fandom. The first thing it would resolve is the Friday the 13th franchise. Now I'm about to go to a very legalese statement. When the first Friday the 13th that was made in 1980 was released, Warner Brothers took the international uh, distribution, while Paramount took the domestic, the North American side. Um, that's on one point. Plus, though, the sequels to Friday 13th Part Two um, up until the latter um, to Part Eight, the franchise, because when it petered out, it moved to New Line. New Line was owned by Warner Brothers and such. Hold on, who's in the chat room? Oh yeah, of course, yeah, of course, yeah. Trump did lie in his State of the Union, but I'm gonna talk about that in a minute though, because like I said, this ain't gonna be a long live stream. Now, because of the acquisition of, or what's going to be, most likely, I give it 75% chance that Warner Bro- Warner Brothers will be owned by Paramount. Is as a fan, as a movie fan, you might see uh, movies like Michael Myers versus Jason, Freddy versus Michael Myers. I mean, because the Halloween franchise is is owned by I forgot this Middle Eastern, this Arab guy who ran the Halloween series since the 1970s. Well, his company, the movie rights, is owned by Miramax. Miramax, since the the SA during the Me Too movement when the Weinstein brothers sold it um because of their what you call it um because of their sexual uh um scandal. They sold it to Paramount. Now since Paramount owns parts of Miramax, you might see a Jason versus um Michael Myers movie. You might see a Freddy Krueger versus Michael Myers movie coming down in the next couple of years. Watch it. Just wait for the announcement because it's coming. That's if you're a movie fan, you like to see stuff like this. Another aspect, which could be good for the news, for the fandom, is you might see a Cloverfield. Um, oh yeah, oh yeah. I saw it. I saw it myself. Yeah, I saw that fan fix, that fan movie, Jason versus Michael. I was like, that was better than most movies I've seen. I tell you the truth. You know, the plot might be light. It might be light on the plot, but it was effective. What Jason was doing with Freddie was no, what Jason and Michael was doing. They was going ham and they was killing people, and then they finally met up and then they start to slaughter each other. But they didn't make a movie on that. But that was a point I was trying to make. Oh yeah, I was distracted. I was distracted for a minute. I meant to say it's something else though. Fans might receive, right. Um, I think it would also solve the issue concerning Cloverfield, right? Yeah, yeah. Here I was about to go here. Cloverfield, the giant monster Cloverfield, which has been that's been out since 2009, 2008. You might see that roll up into the MonsterVerse with Kong and Godzilla. Um, that might happen. Um, that's if you're a fan of this. The possibilities of this happening. Um, well, so some about the fans. You might see Indiana Jones being introduced into um I don't know, DC Comics. You might see Star Trek itself being introduced into DC Comics as a permanent fixture, no longer as a license, but as a permanent fixture. That's if you into the fan part, right? Um, yeah. So that's what I think those going to happen. So be on the lookout for that for the next, because they might change the entire James Gunn universe with Paramount involved. Um, yeah. So I'm trying to figure out what other franchise might be um that might come about behind this. I'm trying to remember what other franchise that might reemerge because of the merger or the incoming merger. Now, by law, the merger is going to take a year or two for the merger to be official. Once there is um once the balance sheets and the taxes has all been since it be official. Gonna take a year or two, but we'll look out for it. New movies being announced. Uh, let's see what else. What else? I'm trying to think of a movie franchise or two movie franchises that might collide because of um the merger. Like I said, it's not all good. Okay, whether Netflix got it or Paramount get it, it's still all bad. Now let me talk about the bad part. Okay, I don't think I left out on the good part. Hope you didn't see. Do I say anything else that's good? Well, that's on the good side. But let me talk about the bad side now. This has a host of problems. Okay, this has a host of problems. Right. What's going on, SD? What's going on, SD? No. The last movie in the trilogy was terrible. Halloween Ends was terrible. The second movie in the trilogy, I can half-ass like it. The first one, yeah, the first one's up there with the first one should have been was par with part four. You know what? As a fan of Michael Myers, I think the best outside of the first movie. I'm a segue for a minute. Outside the first movie, the best sequel was Halloween 4. That is still the best. If I have to take my movies, horror movies that I like, Halloween 4 will be up there with Friday 13th Part 2. It would be up there on my Mount Rushmore of slasher horror movies. All right, it would be up there along with my Bloody Valentine. It would be up. Those three movies would be up on my Mount Rushmore. Um, I might put Candyman up there, but yeah, as for a slasher horror, Friday 13 Part 2, Halloween 4, um, will be up there on my Mount Rushmore horror movies. Um, but back to where I was at. Let me see. Hold on, let me see. That's if you ask me. You asked me what my favorite horror movies. Those two movies definitely, and even with my Bloody Valentine. When I say my Bloody Valentine, I'm not talking about the remake. I'm talking about the one that made in the early '80s. And it's something about the early '80s horror, the late '70s, early '80s, the slasher movies is the oh, excuse me, the atmosphere. There's an atmosphere that is missing in horror movies today. The atmosphere is gone. It's like it's not grainy. Today's horror movies is missing. It's the graininess, the gritty. It's not atmospheric. The atmosphere is not there. It just um. There's no heart. There's no lore that would back up the plot. All right. There's no and the problem with movies today, um the movies today, there's no everything is spelled out for you. Okay? Everything has to be explained. No, not everything should be explained. Not everything should be explained. We don't need no prequel to on why um Jason's mother is this, or why Freddy Krueger became a child toucher, or all that. No, it does not need to be explained. We just need to explain this is a bad guy. He has a backstory. It's up to the viewer to fill in the blanks. Just fill in the blanks. What's the motivation? behind said character, right? Um, uh, oh, shout out to full circle. I didn't. Sh- uh, thank you for the donation for super chat. Um, that one scene on Texas Chainsaw Massacre when old boy opened the door, that sliding door. No, that sliding door opened and Leatherface he hit the guy on the head and drug his ass up inside. That is one of the most shocking footage of all time. You know, I remember I was a little kid. I remember my mother. Uh she rented that movie one time, and it's like in mid mid '80s. So I was like 5 6 years old at the time, and I wasn't even 10 years old, and then she claims this movie happens in Texas and woo 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 woo, right? So the image of Leatherface opening up that door, that sliding door, and hit old boy upside the head with that club and drag his ass inside. That was one of the most shocking things ever made. I mean, the shocking things I ever saw. Uh, you know, but there's also another thing though. I like though another horror movie I like. I know. I'm going off on a tangent here. As somebody who grew up as an '80s baby, growing up in the being a baby in the 1980s, being a child and a teenager of the '90s. One movie that does give me the creeps was Salem's Lot, the 1970s Salem's Lot, right? Because I see it on TV. You know that movie onto itself, even though it was a TV movie, how the vampire was um, forming and the trick photography, how the vampire was how he killed the parents in that kitchen, and how the little vampire boy was knocking on the door, on the window, and his friend opened up the window. That was, you know right, right. Right. I have watched the remake. They made two remakes, right? They made two remakes. The second remake was bland. Okay. If you watch the first remake that was on TNT at the time, what's the name? Count. I've got the main vampires. The villain. He looked like an ordinary man wearing a sweater, right? Um, I was kind of like, well, I kind of missed the bald head and the fangs and him changing into a creature, right? But I get it. I get it. He was hidden. See, in the TNT remake, he was looked upon as he was hidden in plain sight, right? He was a normal guy, and at the end, you say, "Oh shit, he's the vampire," right? So everybody was expected to be the bald-headed guy with the cape and the fangs. No, he was just a normal man who just at the corner of the room just showed up, and everybody was talking to him like he was talking back to you. You didn't know he was the vampire, right? Now the second remake that was made in 2010, I think that one was more closer to the original, but it showed a lot more theatrics, you know. So count on watch the TNT remake, cause like I'm looking for Count Orgok, what's his name? Orgok. I was expecting him to have the black cape and the the fangs and the bald head. And no, he was just a guy that everybody was talking to. How you doing, Bill? I'm doing fine. How you doing, Bill? I'm doing fine, man. Hey, man, you come to the barbecue? Yeah, that's the actor who played the Count in the remake. That's who played the Count in the remake. Because it came out of nowhere, right? He just showed up like, okay, this guy's wearing a sweater. He looked like though he was making cookies and shit. And then all of a sudden, his fangs started coming out. I am the Count, and he starts slaughtering people and shit. You know, right? That is that. Yeah. Count Ock and Carbell are the same person. Carl, Kurt Barlow, and the Count. Car Barlow is the Clark Kent, while the Count is the Superman, right? That's if you read Salem's Lot, that's really is the, you know, if you watch the remake, that's really what it is. You watch the remake. Yeah, but he was hitting in plain sight while everybody was like, wait a minute, what the fuck going on? Hey man, we scared, man. Where are these vampires coming from? And all of a sudden he's up inside the house with your ass. Yeah. Yeah. But let me see where I was at. I went off on a tangent about Salem's Lot. Salem's Lot. I'm talking about the 70s one. Grew up as a child of the 90s. Yeah, I used to watch reruns of that. That was spooky. Well, like the rest of it was kind of boring because it's 1970s movies, so some of it kind of drags on. But the spooky part was the boy coming flying up, knocking on that window, and then there's a scene in the kitchen where the vampire killed the two parents in that kitchen and revealed himself. Yeah, that one was I'll say for a 1970s movie that was badass though. The photography, how it's done, right? Yeah, they are the same person. Kurt Barlow and the Count are one and the same. So yeah, let me see. Now, where was I at? I was going to say something else though. I know I got caught up in the talking horror movies. Oh, but Halloween 4. Halloween 4 will always be my favorite movie out of the Halloween franchise. I'm gonna tell you why. Y'all got to forgive me. I'm taking some medicine real quick. Um, um, the reason why I like that one is because it has the small town atmosphere. The impending when a Michael escaped from the ambulance and he killed the people inside the gas station, and he was going into Hattonfield, and people was panicking in the streets. How Michael took out the power grid so he can further so like the police won't find him. That was, I'll say, the best slasher sequel because he had the whole town terrified. Everybody was locking up the doors, buying guns and stuff, and and then the the murders was going on right and left. Yeah. Yeah, that's why though Halloween 4 is the best um was the best movie of the franchise. Now, part 5 sucked. Yes, part 5 sucked. Part 6, well, part 6 has that 1990s feel to it that it's really a charm because I love the 1990s feel. Um, the clothes, the music. Um, I want to do a video on the 1990s. How looking back at the 1990s, I think 1990s was the last great decade, and I'm gonna talk about that. I might do a live stream on that or a video on that, because I think though a lot of missed opportunity happened during the 90s that shaped the world today. I think if we was more um, if we didn't kept retreading the Cold War and the geopolitics, you know, if America and the Western world hadn't become arrogant, um, if the West had not become arrogant, we wouldn't be having Trump or 9/11 and so forth. What the things that we're suffering today. Um, but anyway, let me just get back to the topic, to the bad part of the merger. The bad part of the merger itself is Paramount owning CNN. Hold on. Right, exactly. Listen, right. Hold on. Yeah, I was born in the set. I'm from the '90s, born in '90. Yeah, yeah. Because if you watch a horror movie from 2005, no. I tell you what, go back to a horror movie from 1997 and onward. It's like, huh? This it? You know what? I might want to do a video on the top 15. Yeah, I'm gonna say the top 15 horror movies. In my humble opinion, right? And let me say this right now: I am not a fan of Hellraiser. I'm not a fan of Hellraiser because let's just say it's. I'm not a fan of Hellraiser because it's too. I don't know. It's not realistic to me. Okay. Um. Uh. It's. I don't want to say it's sacrilegious. I guess. I don't know. It doesn't appeal to me. I'm more scared of a man wearing a mask, slaughtering people. Um. You know. Or some ghosts like Freddy Krueger or something that going people's dreams. But Hellraiser, you know what? They should make a movie of Freddy Krueger going into Hellraiser. I think that would be a badass movie, though. I think that would have been a badass movie if Freddy Krueger fight the Cenobites or Pinhead. You know, Freddy versus Pinhead. I think that would be a badass movie, though. But the actor's old. That's a sad thing. The actor who played Freddy and the actor who played Pinhead, they're up in age, so they're in their 70s and 80s now. I don't think though it would be a good. I think that's the biggest missed opportunity on that. But I would love to see a Freddy fighting Pinhead. Even though I'm not a fan of the Hellraiser movies, I'm not really a fan of them. Um, then again, Freddy versus Candyman, but the actor who played Candyman is no longer here. He's no longer among the land of the living, sadly. But I would love to see that. Candyman going after Freddy. Now that's something I would like to see. I would like to see. Uh, Hold on, Pinhead versus Pennywise. Oh, the movie posters seem like you've seen them all. Modern movie posters have a bunch of heads floating on the back, and yeah, exactly. Serpent in the Rainbow. You know, Serpent in the Rainbow. That part when they buried what's his name, and soon as they put him in the ground, and you see the tears come out of his eyes. That was spooky. Okay. Other than that, um, um, other than that, yeah. Um, Other than that, I really, I don't. I really wasn't into it like that though. So yeah. Let's see. But back to um the bad part of why it's bad for Paramount to own Warner Brothers. I'm about to go political with this, right? The political part is that if y'all ever know who owns CBS, CBS is run by Viacom. Viacom is owned by Paramount, and Paramount is owned by Skydance. Now I don't know if y'all been keeping up. Who runs CBS? Well, CBS is becoming more like Fox News, right? It's um CBS News is becoming the right wing, um pro Trump, pro Benjamin Netanyahu. You know what? I'll say is more Benjamin Netanyahu um stance than anything else. So is CBS might influence CNN. You know, it might influence CNN, and because um yeah, it might influence CNN, and how CNN is. Well, I'm no fan of CNN, right? I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm not a fan of CNN, but CNN is looked upon as a quote unquote liberal news, right? Or anti-Trump. And let me say this right now, CNN is not anti-Trump. CNN wants you to believe that they're anti-Trump, yet Trump makes them money. All right. Trump makes CNN money. That's why though they claimed um they claimed to be anti-Trump. Oh yeah, this is an apple, this is an orange, and da da. No. They make money off the hate of Trump rather than of their duty to the country or the Constitution, or do do a process. Hold on, is that a live panel on movies would be cool. I'm down. Okay. Maybe next time. Um, so seeing it, so CBS is run by Benjamin Netanyahu, um, a person who backs Benjamin Netanyahu. Uh, Seeing how they're going to shift the balance of CNN and headline news to become a um, um, let me just say this: anybody who's pro-Palestine, right? Uh, their voices will not be heard anymore. Okay, people who are either pro-Palestine or is Muslim, um, they're going to be targeted by CNN and CBS, based on the direction by direction of CBS onto CNN. Yeah, that's what I believe is going to happen. And yes, and this got Trump's hands all over it. Now, Trump did want Netflix to take over, you know. And let me talk about Netflix, right? Netflix would have been bad as well when attaining Warner Brothers, because Netflix would have destroyed the movie theaters. They would have came over here, destroyed, you know, all these multiplex theaters, and even some of your small town theaters. They would have destroyed the movie industry. The release times of movies, you know, the time where the motion pictures is, you know, the weeks before the home release. It takes like what, 6 months at least, 3 months after release of the movie to be on home video, on streaming. Yes, Netflix would have destroyed all that if they had the chance to their hands on WB, since WB is one of the largest studio in Hollywood. They'll take 50% of the Hollywood with them. So yeah, that's a good thing for denying Netflix everything. And plus, with Netflix, you know, where they're dealing with Vince McMahon and WWE. Well, no, not Vince McMahon, Triple H and WWE. That's also a good thing, because I don't think that one corporation should have all that power. So anyway, I think that's it. I think that's it. Thank y'all for the donation, the super chat from Full Circle. Yeah, let me get out of here. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to sleep, and I'll see y'all next time. Big J out. Oh, again, shout out to the super chat. Anyway, get out of here. I'm out.
I am not here to debate with anyone. I have devoted all of my adult life to this subject. I only debate with my equals. All others I teach.